Something about the world ain't right. The darkness lives in plain sight. In the ether, adjust your eyes. There are those that have no clue. You give them hints, they just stare at you. Most have lived in Plato's cave, watching.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm here with the marvelous George H. Lewis and the one and only Carole Maureen Friesen from the Lightworkers Institute. And we're just going to have a wonderful chat, just sending positive vibes for everybody today. It's been really cool being back in the US. I was in Panama for a couple weeks, but even in Panama, seeing the united vibes that are happening in the United States, and all these Europeans are like, wait a second, this isn't what the media has been telling us. So it's cool to now be up in the Seattle area. I'm going to be heading to a couple games, and seeing people really wake up. It's yet another layer in the matrix that people are now waking up to. So I couldn't think of a better show to help folks get aligned with the divine than these two. So welcome to the show, Carole. I'll start with ladies first.
Oh, well, it's great to be here. It's been a while since we've done a show. So yeah. And to be on with the great George Lewis. So it's, we have so much, in common, especially going forward in the positive and being in our vehicle, right? And using things like astrology, galactic signatures, and numerology in a very positive way. We say pick a path. So yeah, so it's great to be here. We're going to have a great talk.
Well said. George, welcome to the show.
It's lovely. It's so nice. The feeling's very mutual, Carole. You're wonderful, and it is really lovely to be invited back by you today, Joe. And it's an important time. I mean, the Jupiter is right over the United States birth chart, and it coincides with the amazing festivities and what's happening in the United States at the moment with the sports. And people are really beginning to realize that the sham that the mainstream media is, that the American psyche, the American people are here, they're civilized, they're kind, they're fun, and Europeans especially are going to experience that.
Very much so. Well, I know that you guys, I think you've been on some shows together, but this is the first time where it's really just the three of us, but the two of you. So also, if you have questions for each other, by all means, feel free to jump in and ask each other. So this is kind of we do co-hosted shows here. So Carole, let's start with you and your take on what we're watching now. And then if you have any questions for George, whatever you want to do, let's take it away. So.
Well, yeah, there's so much going on. It's amazing, of course, with the quantum stuff all coming out and the synchronicities that are happening. But, George just said that Jupiter is over, what did you say, United States or? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And because I do a lot with cosmology or galactic signature blueprints, Costa Rica, where I am right now, is on the 5th circuit of the planetary holon, which is the Jupiter circuit. And so 5th circuit is also, I see it as the 5th orbit, which is the planet Meldak, and which was blown up by, a spiritual war way up there. And all they blew up Mars, and then short-circuited Mars, and then all the karma came to planet Earth.
And Meldak was between Mars and Jupiter, right?
It's the astral belt. It was blown up. So that was the planet Meldak, which the serpents and the wizards are from. Yeah, in cosmology. So, I just thought that was really interesting the way I don't. Of course, I know my own sign. I'm a Libra, and blah blah blah. But I haven't studied astrology. That's why it's so interesting how you can start. These things all weave into each other, right?
Yeah. They certainly do. And I also feel, even though I'm a cosmologist, archetypal astrologist, I know that when we increase our frequency, our vibration, we can transcend the language of astrology, and it gets updated. It becomes greater cosmology, more galactic, and less control 3D matrix. I mean, I've always say that we need to learn the language, if you like, the Anunnaki 3D matrix grid, in order to go beyond it, to almost alchemize it, because it is a contortion. It is a bit of a trap. But if we don't know the trap, it's like the allegory of the cave by Plato. If we don't know that we're in the den watching a screen, a propaganda screen, a control system, we don't know about the light outside. So for me, part of the astrology is the divine principle of, or the Delphic oracle, I should say, to know thyself, because it's through the blueprint of the astrological chart, the soul contract, that we're able to see, we have these archetypal tendencies. Look at the doshas. I've just been collaborating in southern Spain with an Ayurvedic expert, Dr. Mangala, and Mango, as I call him, he's really started. I know the surname is a bit is quite amusing, but obviously Sri Lankan, so it's written dumb and it's different. But Mango, as I call him, so we don't call him Dr. Mangala. He looks at Ayurvedic, obviously the doshas, and it really comes from the astrology. It's air, fire, water, and earth. And learning where our elements are, we get a sense of our natural disposition. Are we going to be stressed at that? Or are we going to be relaxed like this? And it's just all about knowing thyself. So that's why I like astrology so much, is because it gives you that sort of foundational knowledge.
Yeah, we bring it all down to psychosomatics too, like how it aligns with the body, and which is the most important thing, is how much consciousness we can bring into our own physical body by using the body properly. And what came across me the other day is to just people talk all these different ways of increasing your frequency, but the best way is to breathe consciously. And we can breathe consciously and chew gum at the same time. So we should be able to, with every breath we take, we expand ourselves and expand our understanding of, how powerful we are. But we're all just blow up dolls that we need to, pump ourselves up. Otherwise we, deflate. We need to inflate and into our energy field. And there's so many ways of going about it, right? So, but still what comes down to is stay in the driver's seat, which is your body. And that's why my key work is psychosomatic therapy, which I've been teaching for 26 years, which is through the chakra system of the face, the hands, the feet, and the physical body itself, and where we can be out of alignment. And the more we bring ourselves into alignment and then connect to our higher selves and higher visions, like, I often say, like the first layer up, when you're looking at things, would be understanding your astrology. And then higher than that would be numerology connecting here again to the chakra system through Dan Millman's work, The Life We Were Born to Live. And then if you go into a more left brain function, that is, I see it as human design. It's very robotic. And then the galactic signature is very using archetypes. So we can't relate to a circuit that is 34.9 or whatever. It doesn't, as a human, we can't relate. But if we use archetypes, like someone's like a magician, or has the energy of a sage, or a yellow human, we call it, then that's more like a fairy tale. And we're all making up a story. Why not make up a good one? And they're all like breadcrumbs, divination tools that we can use to expand. And I tell people, collect all these parts of yourself and resonate with what is good, and maybe where your challenges are, and get to know yourself at many levels, and of course the physical body. What are you built for? Are you a Mack truck or a Ferrari? And and just don't take your Ferrari 4x4ing in the backwoods or up Costa Rican roads. So there's so many layers to ourselves. And when you said that, know thyself, in my center in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, I had, going into my my workshop rooms, or the studio I had up there, was the charge of the goddess, which is that what you seek, you find not within yourself. You will never find it without. So it's all about coming, there's a whole universe inside of us.
Mhm.
And to balance that. So many people, they only look at this out here, and they're not looking inside and where their issues are in their tissues, and what we can transform within ourselves, and our insecurities, and where we don't have our self-confidence, self-esteem. It's all happens in the inner child too. So that's where I go deep into the inner child too. So
yeah, no, it's interesting. I've just finished a retreat here in southern Spain, and we got the students to act out the archetypes. So acting out someone's got a Venus in Gemini. What does that look like? Someone else got a Venus in Capricorn. Very different, It's I think the embodiment aspect's very powerful, because people can really understand the depth and complexity of the archetypal language when we start to embody it.
Yeah, like I say, just pick a path, pick something, and otherwise people are flailing out there. For me personally, psychosomatic was the most enlightening thing I ever done. I don't have a huge forehead, right? I thank God I don't have to be a rocket scientist, and I got a big square jaw. Don't think about I'm a bull in a china shop. And someone's inverted triangle, they're very sensitive, so they learn to drive their Ferrari in heavy traffic, not just park it in the garage. And then, of course, using our own body language, what are we saying? If they're not using their hands when they're up in front of the room speaking, I'll just say, why don't you just cut those arms off if you're not going to use them? You got to act things out, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a charades. And at the same time, it was so enlightening for me. And then, as we expand or grow, I was in Sedona at something, I was running a retreat there. And of course, we're going back, right? George, you going to join us in Sedona, October?
We need to let George know about it. Yeah.
Oh,
probably.
really?
The ladies are putting it together so fast. I didn't realize what was happening. So,
well, then we met a wizard on a rock at Cathedral Rocks, and he came over to our house, and he was giving us all readings and stuff. And mine was I'm a red spectral serpent. And I just, took it as a grain of salt. And I said, well, that's interesting. All my courses are called vagina breathing and orgasmic bedroom yoga and stuff, because we're in charge of the Kundalini, right? And it was about a year later when I said, well, what am I going to do next? Because I'd sold and traveled and whatever, where am I going to live? And not Vancouver. And so Costa Rica came up, and there was only one thing, was Heaven and Earth Sanctuary. And then I really dove into the galactic signature and really expanded on it, where I actually teach parts of that in my master's program. And anyone that comes to my retreats, they all get their charts. And we act those things out while they're here. So it's in our serpents. Well, they're supposed to be in a river bottom, and there was only one place in this area for sale. It was called Heaven and Earth Sanctuary. Well, I had the Lightworkers Institute, so I says, well, that seems right on. And everything, when I started using the Mayan calendar with the 13 moon, 28 days, and doing it every day, looking at the chart, what's the energy of the day, and I fell into synchronicity. And once, instead of the static in a 28 day, 30 day, 31, 29, when the Gregorian calendar came, it really put a lot of static. We're not in the right place at the right time then. But when I went into the Mayan calendar, everything would line up. It was just bizarre how many things lined up. And just to be in the right place at the right time to meet the right people. So I always come back to that trust, right? There's always a balance. Of course, I'm a Libran, so it's always looking for the balance between the two. So that's what brought me to Costa Rica. So, and yeah, it's been almost 9 years now. So Joe's been down here for, what were you, 3 weeks or a month?
Well, I'll tell you, I just figured by, because my friend wanted to go to Panama, and I just went to Panama for a couple of weeks. without having someone like a Carole, the experience is so vastly different that I mean, Panama, nothing against it. It's also the people that you meet and the insights on where to go and what to do and certain things like that. So it made me very much appreciate traveling with people that either know the area or that live there or what have you. So it made me appreciate Carole very much and Costa Rica very much. But I want to ask George, when did you start becoming really aware of, like, you know, the Gregorian calendar and how things have been, you know, how we've been messed with? Were you quite a young kid when you started seeing some of these things, or what was that like for you?
I mean,
you seem like so much more in synchronicity than a lot of other people have.
I mean, there are many parts to it, because I remember reading. I mean, we all had to speak French and read French as children growing up at these posh schools that I went to in England, and I remember reading what's his name? He was the mystic from the 16th century, Nostradamus' quatrains, all in French. And I remember reading them and saying, yes, this is very interesting. This man's a genius, but it's predictive programming. I knew back then that this was the hidden hand playing its part, like The Simpsons or Hollywood today, in getting certain things to happen in the future. I just knew that as a 13, 14-year-old boy. And even now, I still can't articulate that very well, but there's an inner knowing. So with the astrology, I mean, I've only been doing astrology for 12 years in this incarnation.
Oh, wow.
But it came very fast through a mentor. I mean, I'll briefly tell you the story. I had a big art studio in Chelsea, Manhattan. And it was in 2014. This man came into my art studio through an Indian mystic friend of mine. She'd had a dream that she needed to introduce me to this man called Monty Taylor. And Monty Taylor was a Jungian astrologer, a cosmologist, really, I would say a mythologist primarily, an amazing mythologist. And he came into my studio. He was a little pompous, amazing storyteller. He had a Dali-esque cane. He was in his 70s. He looked 100. And he sat down and he said, "My dear boy, I'm going to teach you astrology." And I, in a kind of posh American accent, and I said to him, "Okay, prove it." And literally after our first lunch together, I was gobsmacked. I was truly gobsmacked. And I downloaded from him so fast. I mean, he said to me 2 years later, "I don't want to see you again." I burst into tears. "I can't teach you anymore. You know more than I do. Off you go." And I never saw him again. It was a very unusual mentorship. It came in and it exited. It came in fast and it left fast. And I'll be forever grateful. Now, the thing about me in astrology is I've never got, how do I say this? I've never got so conditioned that it is the only way in. Some of us speak multiple languages. This is a powerful language. I will always say human design, the gene codes, it all comes from astrology. Absolutely. Let me be clear. It's a primary language. But there are other ways in. There are other ways to crack the matrix. So for me, certain archetypes will like it. Some won't. Some's gone beyond it. Some haven't even caught up to it. But it's, you know, when Carole talks about the different calendars, absolutely. When my friend, the late Huna Flash, spoke about the Lemurian calendar, and I'm very Piscean, I'm a turtle, I really get all that Lemurian stuff. At the end of the day, we've still got to crack the code as it is today, because people, Tom, Dick, and Fanny haven't even caught up yet. They don't even know their big three, let alone how Mercury is aspecting Mars. My humble offering is to get Tom, Dick, and Fanny to have a sense of their astrology, to crack the nut that is the 3D matrix, in order to enter into sophisticated numerology, certain types of gene code allegories, or different forms of gematria and high galactic cosmology. You know, at the end of the day, we've got to peel the artichoke to get to the heart, and we're all at different stages. Astrology for me is a fascinating tool, but it isn't the only tool. Some of us can just jump through frequency and do it through music.
Very, very good point. Yeah. So there was some. So what do you see? You know, we've had Derek Johnson on the show, who has a very direct way of, I mean, all you got to do is ask about 3 questions and he kind of takes the helm from there. But he said we're going to really see huge things happening this year because it's the 250th year, and to go much beyond this would kind of be doing a disservice. It would start, you know, taking away from the whole point. What are your, I mean, we're only what, roughly 10 days ish away from July 4th. What are you seeing in the world of astrology, you know, that you could share with the folks?
I mean, I look at it very interestingly through the outer planets predominantly, that it's very unusual to have all the outer planets right now in new signs. So I think I may have mentioned it on a show before that we've all experienced this Saturn-Neptune conjunction at the 0 point of Aries in February. Now, the 0 point of Aries, that hasn't happened for Saturn-Neptune for over 6,000 years. It's a massive, massive indicator of a shift, not just the precession of the equinox, which is Pisces into Aquarius, but of actually something even grander. And Jupiter's literally right now at the anaretic degree of Cancer, about to go into Leo. That will make it another planet at the early degrees. It is the fire horse year, to use the Chinese lexicon now. There's so many ways to get to the same point that, I mean, Johnson will use wonderful other ways of looking at military intel and Q posts and do his due diligence rather magnificently through that study of really what it is the military space force program matrix tapping into the quantum. I'm just doing it in a different way, but it's kind of the same. It's saying, okay, this is shift time. Now, Pluto, the planet of transformation, is a massive one. I could go through a whole litany of examples here with the last Pluto return of the United States, and before that, the last with the Revolutionary Wars of the founding of this great republic. We are basically renewing our vows now, and yes, it's cycle. And so even if there's all these ups and downs and hibbity-bidgeties, as Carole and others say, which is very true, the reality are there is these big time capsules with the outer planets, because they aren't doing the little Mercury skitters in and out. These are massive key cosmic indicators of change. Pluto trining Uranus, the planet of innovation. Isn't it interesting that right now Uranus is right at the beginning of Gemini? When was the last time Uranus was in Gemini? Was the World War II. What about the time before that? The Civil War. What about the time before that? The Revolutionary War. You can't make that up. That is pure clockwork. What's the difference with Uranus this time than the other 3 mentioned? The difference is it's all trines and sextiles. To those who don't understand, it is benevolent shifting of the sands into the new republic, into the new era, without mass conflagration. We had squares and oppositions in World War II, in Civil War, in the Revolutionary Wars against the tyranny of Great Britain in 1776. This time we don't. So for me, it's very cool as a cucumber. We're looking at the statistics. I'm reading the cosmic map. And it's, you know, in this sense, there's no channeling here. I can do that when we're doing the music if you want. But this is pure, cold, cool, calm analytics of our cosmology. And it's very exciting time, Joe and Carole, is it not? Because at the end of the day, the winds are upon our back.
Beautiful. Yeah. Carole, please go ahead.
Well, I think we are transitioning right now, actually, a split off in consciousness too, because I think we need to have peace on Earth in order to make this transition. And I follow some other stuff, and we're supposed to be, once we make that shift, we kind of follow the dolphins and the whales through the constellation of Delphinius. And, you know, you can mix that all in. This happens, the big shift happens every 26,000 years or 25,960 or whatever. Julio, I always say it wrong, Aguilius, he's the one that sort of introduced everyone to the harmonic conversions, right? Back in 87. And so my teacher, Herman Mueller from Australia, ever since the 87, every single New Year's, they do the World Peace Meditation by, what's her name? She's got the violet flame, not Patricia Cobaroni. Yeah. So, I mean, so there's just things are happening really fast. And I think that's what, if we have peace on earth, we can make the shift without the turbulence or pole shifts that could go on. I mean, it's happening already, more earthquakes, and it's going to be turbulent. So it's turbulent and chaos on earth between us all. If who's ever human, we don't even know. Maybe there is only 144,000 of us. Who knows? The rest are all,
NPC.
players, NPCs. So yeah, it's just, I think, enjoy the chaos, because through chaos comes order, and we can rebuild a new system, because we can't fall back into that old system. And during this, well, I say 17 days, because it started on the 24th. If anyone watched the big, huge show, it was fabulous. The greatest rally ever. And whatever, what did he call it? He said the same thing about January 6th, though, Trump. But here again, I look at other people's charts too to see what's happening. And Trump he's so right on with his reading. He's got, like, in his first dimensional self, or base chakra, he's got the wizard, which the archetype is the wizard. In his second dimensional self, sacral, is the yellow human, which is the sage. And in his third dimensional self, he's the blue hand. And on July 4th is a blue hand day. It's the avatar, and his fourth dimensional self, which is in his heart chakra, who he wants, his biggest challenge, but his greatest gift when he matures into it, is the red earth. And the red earth, and the archetype is the navigator. So he's navigating us through these waters right now. And, he's probably a time traveler, right? And his fifth,
sure.
he's
definitely a time traveler.
Yeah, his fifth dimensional self is oh shit, I went blank. Anyways, which is the magician? Oh, the blue monkey. Blue monkey is the magician.
Oh, blue monkey. Yeah.
And he always says, "I've got a sword. I've got a magic wand. It'll work." So, yeah. Because he's got the wizard and the magician, right? And he's the navigator. And he's taking us through this time to bring peace on earth.
Can I also just jump in? Because I want your listeners to know the correspondence, because it's so interesting as Carole delineates what she's just said. Donald Trump has a North Node conjunct Uranus in Gemini with a Sun in Gemini. That is the magus. That is the magician on steroids. And then an opposition, Sagittarius, with the Moon. You're dealing with the archetype of the navigator, the time traveler, especially with his Moon on the galactic center at 2021 degrees Sagittarius. I mean, you can't make that up. His South Node is right on the galactic center.
Yeah.
So, what I love about this is when people have different language, but they get to the same point. Mm-hmm. That puts weight behind the debate.
Yeah, it's like, George, like you're saying, I mean, you understand the astrology, you've studied that aspect of him, right? And I've, done his face readings, face splits, his hands. I found pictures of his feet even. And, read, he's right. He is the perfect person for this position. And I don't know who else on earth could do it and have that dedication in their heart. And so, you bring all of these aspects of a person together, right down to his name. And, because I say
the Trump card, card. People have got so beyond forgetting language before Trump arrived. I mean, I like you, we all do cards. I mean, I was playing bridge as a 10-year-old boy, and now it's more like tarot. But the point is, he is the Trump card. Mars is on his ascendant to the degree, not only on 29 degrees Leo, it's on Regulus, one of the 4 royal stars. You can't make that up. That's bravery in excelsis.
Yeah. He's also, the Trump card is the Joker card, right? And yeah. You've hit the highest part of spirituality is when you become the fool, right?
And the North Node is, and his Uranus is the Fool. And his Uranus is conjunct the North Node. North Node, what you're here to do in this life. Sometimes astrology is damn literal. And the North Node conjunct Uranus is, I am the Fool next to the Sun, the embodiment of. And it's 11th house, the politician in the spotlight. Can't make it up.
Yeah, I do his numerology too, and it's he's a 314. So 3 is expression, throat chakra, expression, and sensitivity. Herman worked with Dan Millman to put it into the chakra system, and we look at like the 3 rays of the 3 colors, which is blue ray of will, yellow ray of love wisdom, or gold ray of love wisdom, and the red ray of active intelligence. But Trump's got like the throat chakra, which is 3. 1 is the crown chakra, which is creativity and confidence, and then 4 is the base chakra, and that's process and stability. So that's the business aspect. They're builders. The 4 is builders. It's funny because Don is the same thing, Don Jr., and Baron is a 134. So I was getting back to his name. Donald means world leader. And I mean, anyone can look this up. John means graced by God. And Trump was rump before, which is the one that makes the drums. And so, but a trumpet, right? And so I say world leader, graced by God, who sounds the clarion trumpet, who beats to his own drum. That's what his name means. So it's, it's really interesting how you can do a reading like yourself. You've got that astrology part, and it all fits. It's like this puzzle that's all fitting together, and we can all do it and find our own mission in life.
And the other thing is, what's extraordinary, Carole, is Donald J. Trump has Pluto on his ascendant near Mars, and Pluto is always going to be confusing. And so with many of Joe's listeners and our communities have some inner standing, I like to say, rather an understanding of Q, which can be military intelligence, but ultimately it's teaching us to wake the F up and start asking more questions. It's an activation. And what he has is Pluto. So what you see is not what you get. And that's why I love astrology. Otherwise, I'd been bored of it. I would have moved on years ago. This stuff still impresses me, even if it is draconian. And I think, when it comes to that, thinking of the draconian, you did mention a moment ago, Carole, when you said about, what was it? You were talking about the serpent. Do you remember? You were talking about, when the serpent, it made me think about the snake, because that's very Pluto and transformation. But when the serpent in the Garden of Eden was actually maybe the goddess attempting to liberate humanity from the false god. Of course, this may trigger people. And these are questions I'm posing. I'm not making a statement here. I do not know, but I'm the child because I'm going to have fun asking questions. History starts to make more sense when we understand that actually the serpent, when we use it correctly, which is again the Luciferian conversation of let's share the light with everyone rather than keep it for a very select few, that in some ways was the declaration of war, in the sense of the goddess attempting to liberate humanity from the false god. History starts to make more sense. We war upon the goddess and humanity in some ways is what has happened in our civilization up until this point. And when we come to realize that the great goddess Mary or Sophia, or however you want to call it, the goddess of wisdom, it may clarify further that the battle has been against wisdom on this planet. And it's been a massive inversion through all the controlled religions against our individual godly divine source codes. And so for me, this restoration of the Republic is one thing, but on a galactic, dare I say, Atlantean on another, it is actually us getting power back to our individuation, moving out of the collective amnesia of having no memory of freedom and into some real activation as a human species.
Yeah, I also see the coming back to the serpent. I see the serpent as the life force of Mother Earth, and we are the conduit to meet the light source. So I don't use the word God. It's right. Light, right? Light source. So it's moving up through us, but we have to open ourselves up to that. And so the coming back to every 13,000 years, these energies shift, and I think we're at the end of the masculine, domination and moving over to the feminine, because it switches. I mean, the serpent eats its tail, but then in 13,000 years, the feminine will eat its tail. So it's like a pendulum swing. And of course, there's, many layers in between those years. And it's here again, stepping up to the divine feminine would be, I see Melania as a perfect example of the divine feminine, and her numerology is 2911, and that's a double crown. That's the queen. She's got a double crown, creativity and confidence, and she holds that energy beautifully. And who knows, I think she's still Mother Russia too, and coming back, and that's where the Schumann resonance is out of. So I think there's so much that we could get to. But I was going to ask you a question, because George, was about is Venus coming back in like every 8 years? Tell us about that. There's an 8-year.
Yes, there's an 8-year cycle. I mean, Venus does this amazing dance, and when you look at it in cymatics, often that's the famous rose window in Chartres Cathedral, the dance, including the retrograde cycle that she does around our planet. And there are these 8-year intervals. I mean, right now, Venus is 15 degrees Leo. And, we've just had a Venus-Jupiter conjunction this last 2 months. Well, the last month, actually. It happened about 3 weeks ago. The exact conjunction, 2.5 weeks ago even, in Cancer, right over the United States birth chart. I mean, Venus, the morning star, is very interesting because, of course, the concept of light, Lucifer, Luciferus, Lucis. Mm-hmm. And Sasha Stone's drilled a little bit into this, and I did something with, we spoke, Joe, with, I did it, was it with you, Joe? When I did that with...
No, it's probably with Ethan and Scott.
Yeah. Ethan and Scott, that one, that's right. Yeah. And on what's the devil, what the devil is the difference.
The difference, yes.
Yeah, between Satan and Lucifer. And it was fun for me, that, because it was a springboard for me to investigate further. And I like to be seen as the child in this sense, because I think it's going to be a lot more fun for all of us if we can come to some of this stuff with an open heart and obviously an open mind, and not be too judgy. And so I'm not really answering a question about Venus, but Venus has this beautiful dance around the night sky, and there are these 8-year cycles for where she comes back to the same point, and she makes this fleur de lis, this flower, and it's very sacred. And obviously in sacred geometry it becomes a cymatic pattern that carries a very specific 528 frequency, which in musical terms is obviously exquisite. And then of course I just want to share that about the Venus-Jupiter conjunction we've just had, going right over the birth chart of the United States. There's something, and it coincides with the Olympics this year. It's very extraordinary, actually, that America's coming back online, and America, and I should really say the United States, because it's the Americas coming back to the real Atlantis. Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, I've been there a few times. It's right at the heart. It's almost the belly button, right? Right in the middle of it links the condor to the eagle. And, it's an exciting time for all of us to share our insights in how the United States and the Americas reclaims her soul trajectory, because the light was expunged deliberately. And I've been investigating a lot more about the Rothschild family of the 1760s right through to the 1820s, so a bit earlier than I was doing. And I've listened to some great stuff, and I'll share more of that another time, just how clever and insidious clever it was. And even the sinking of the Titanic and the switching of the two ships and getting the three men,
Olympia.
Not just Astor, it's, Strauss and Guggenheim on that ship. Masterful work. I say hats off, well done, Rothschild, really. Brilliant, bravo. But it's coming out, so Tom, Dick and Fanny, we the people, can actually understand just to what extent that masterful program reality has been. And in a way, we drop it, we see it, we learn. Some of us want to go down the history route. I mean, I'm interested by Mike King and a lot of these revisionist historians, but others don't have the appetite. But at least those who don't see this is real. And now we can create the new earth, and America's leading the world. I've just been here in Central Europe, in Switzerland, and back in Britain. And I'm sorry, my fellow Europeans, you're so far behind on the ability to go beyond your limited belief system at this stage. It's going to be much harder for the Europeans.
You know, a question on that, George, is people have talked about the split, the solar flash, what have you. You know, many of us have family members that, despite everything that's been unfolding over the last 6 years at least, they just cannot see. I have a family member that thought there was no difference to him in that in 2024, Biden had or whoever's playing Biden had the pride flags and the colors and all that stuff going on in the White House. And then you look at the 250-year celebration on, I think that June 14th, Trump's birthday, Flag Day. And this family member really didn't think that either one of those events really impacted him differently. And I'm just sitting there, can we not just look at the beauty of the jets flying over and the singing of the national anthem? And that doesn't resonate with you any differently than the pride. So I just see certain people lost.
It's real frequencies. I mean, we really are now entering a conversation around frequency, because until we are awake, we are asleep. I speak for myself. And, you know, the bugaboo for me was the last stand was the royal family, because of the way I've been indoctrinated in my country. It took me longer to realize that. And that's where we have to I have family members. I mean, I could share so much. It's not the time. So many of my family members, even my children, just look at it so totally differently. And I think that's part of it. I think when we can overcome the fake notion of death, though, we can just love people and realize that we're here to have an experience. And just because people like us are opening up more and more and peeling the artichoke to get the heart, others may choose not to. And we have to, in a way, deeply, compassionately come to comprehend that that's their journey, even if they're our children or our parents or our siblings, and make peace with that and share when they're willing to. And if it's not in this lifetime, make peace with that. That's all I can say.
I often, use the analogy of maybe they're the masters and they're here to wake us up with their resistance. And it does. I mean, we're learning a lot from them. How do you still even, coexist or, with harmony, right? But it is shifting a lot. So, I think we're all in that, and people are waking up. And, to use an example, one of my brothers posted something, because I'm Canadian, and posted something about Tim Hortons, which is our coffee shop right across Canada franchise, and it was in Sikh language, I think, Pakistani or something, and as a joke, right? And then my sister, how dare you, and then my other brother, he said, well, I'm from a town of 10,000 now, and there's 2,800 East Indians there. They've taken over all the service industries like the Tim Hortons and the McDonald's and stuff like that. And they don't coexist with the Mennonites, because it's a Mennonite community and with a lot of churches, but they're not integrating themselves. They're not becoming part of the community. And so they had this big debate, right? So they're starting to realize, even they're all vaccinated and boosted and everything else, but came to realize that we are being invaded, and it is changing the culture of individual small communities and cities. So they'll start seeing it in the States too. And we see it in England right now. Didn't they say they passed a bill that they're going to deport all illegal aliens? So it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
It's coming, and it has to. The bottom line is just observing it. If it doesn't come, there's no civilization left. I mean, that is just the reality. This is the archetype of Mars in its pure form of defense of the homeland. Archangel Michael is an archetype of defend wife and family. At the end of the day, anyone who would defend Sharia law, which is the abuse of women and more, to me is just, it shouldn't even be needed to be stated, because I'm a serious amateur historian, and I've lived in the Middle East for many years. And of course, some of my friends probably think I've become anti-Muslim. No, I'm anti-political Islam. I'm anti-political Christianity version. I'm I'm anti-Zionism. I mean, this isn't rocket science. It's religions being created to keep you and I and everyone else utterly divided. We've got to start working with the good people of all faiths, because good people want to support family and support women, support the weak, but allow the weak still to get up onto the ladder in order to be entrepreneurial and create in their own soul contract way. We're not talking communism here. We're talking radical capitalism, which no one has a clue what that means, because capitalism hasn't actually existed in the United States since the Second World War. We've had crony corporatism.
Yeah.
So, it's a complex time, isn't it, Carole? It's a very complex But at the end of the day, I do have a lot of hope, because we're having the conversations now as a civilization. And we've got to work on our spirituality as we do it. Because every time we have a tough conversation, we've got to also do the inner work and try and understand the other person's perspective. And when we both do that, we find solutions.
Yeah, well, we're here of a time of remembering who we are and the power. But it's remembering who we are is also doing a life review while you're alive. And I do that on an online program. But I think we need to look back what's hurt us, because it's emotional baggage we're carrying. So how do we go forward if we're carrying too much baggage? So that is getting to know ourselves and our patterns. We all have challenges too within ourselves, whether they like who they see in the mirror every day of their life. That's really is coming back to ourselves and loving the skin we're in. Self-love. People ask me what their purpose are. I says all our purposes are the same. We all have the same purpose. It's to love ourselves. If you love yourself, your mission will come in. We all have different missions, and we're all built for different part of our own transformation within ourselves, first and foremost, because you're only in charge of this universe. That's it. And can't make your children do anything, or siblings. It's coming to realization of ourselves. And I think a lot of this, well, we get back to Venus. I've been arguing with Lucas for a long time for that. I would say, well, Venus is Lucifer, right? It is the morning star. That fake moon up there I think that's a blue beam or something. And so that should be the first light of the day that we see, right? And then we have perfectly balanced nighttime and daylight and daytime, right? And it's the first one that comes over to start us off. And it is the planet of love, right? And also it is the metal is Venus. I mean copper. And copper.
I noticed that right at the beginning. I said, gosh, she's very Venusian with that beautiful copper reflection.
And my cat is named Copper. The last time I did a show with Joe, maybe it was before that, but a little orange cat came, a little kitten was under my deck. And so she wouldn't come to Amber or Ginger. And finally I said, she was curled up underneath the water dispenser. And I said, Copper. And she came bounding to me. So
of course,
the most loving thing. But copper, women have 15 or 20% more copper in their system, in their blood, than men do. Men have more iron, which is Mars, right?
Yeah.
And I said that to John Gray. I was at an event at his house, and I said, did you know this, right? And he says, no, he didn't know that about the copper and the iron. For men are from Mars, women are from Venus. But that's why, I think they've taken out the copper pipes, because copper activates water and can move emotion.
It's a conductor, and it connects your pineal gland and connects you to the higher self. So very much so. In some ways, it's not even just the feminine; it's the intuitive, it's the God. It's the great, but it's a benefic copper. So it's an antennae.
Yeah.
And tin, A tin, of course, is its bedfellow because it's Jupiter, and that's how we make
Oh,
bronze.
really?
And I come from the land of tin, you see. I come from Cornwall. My house is next door to King Arthur's home, Tintagel. So it's interesting.
We have all the copper stuff, everything. Yeah. Yeah, it just because it can move emotions, right? And bring us into the frequency of love is connecting with that. And that's why they took copper out of everything, so that we don't move emotions, and it gets stuck in the physical body then. So yeah, and I think we will come back to the nuclear family, and men are here to protect the divine feminine, or the creative egg, which is right there, Mary Magdalene, and she's holding an egg, and the print is 153. So what does it say in the Bible? This is what I get from Ethan, is cast your net to the right, and they'll catch 153 fish. And 153 is the number of the divine feminine through Mary Magdalene energy. So yeah, it's all about the Vesica Pisces and the rise of the Vesica Pisces, which is the womb of creativity. And I think, to me, even Donald Trump says it. They all do this, right? So it's the bottom part of the Merkaba versus this, right? And that's the capstone. But this is inverted, and that's the divine feminine when you're doing like a 3D 6-pointed star. So, I mean, a shaman told me always wear the 6-pointed star because they know I'm a light worker. That was back in year 2000, way back. And yeah, I've worn it ever since. So people say, "Are you Jewish?" I says, "No, Jewish people don't own the stars." But, Michael Jackson's father said to me, "Well, they sure think they do," because I met him in Atlanta somewhere. That's a whole story. Anyway, what was I getting to? And Melania does this. Junior did this.
Yep.
Lady Di did this. Who else? Eric did it at the inauguration, and Laura pushed his hand down. And
that's right. I saw that. Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. And so, to me, they are here to protect the divine feminine. And this is this whole thing about transgender and men in sports and women's sports. So that'll all shift and belittling of the women.
Once you realize we're in a spiritual battle, you can see it's so clear what their agendas are. I find it really interesting tonight. This has to be on purpose. Iran and Egypt are playing in Seattle in the World Cup, and the city of Seattle decided to kick off Pride Week tonight, and both teams asked FIFA to not celebrate Pride Night, and FIFA, of course, said no. And now they're giving out pins that are, when men are coming in the stadium, it's like a he, him. It's like this is just, it's so well placed, because it's just like, what in the heck is going on? Seattle, of all cities, is now having to confront two teams that are saying, no, we don't want to celebrate, Pride, or however you want to look at it. It's just really interesting that it's Pride Night, but you have Veterans Day, and it's really getting people, I think, to look at things and shift. And I think that's the whole premise of why it's happening. But before we get too far away, I was curious with Curious George about, has George delved into any of your past lives? And now with you really digging into yourself as an artist and starting to showcase more of your talents and pull back these veils and dig into your music, like, can you give us some insight either into your tapping into your former lives, or what's coming up for you to now delve deeper into your artistry? I think it's a beautiful place that you're at in your life right now.
Thank you. I mean, I haven't in this incarnation spent a great deal of my time looking at my past lives. And I don't know why. I've only done one past life regression, and it was only last year. And I'm happy to share quickly a bit about that.
Please, that would be great.
It took me back to a different time. So not in, I was literally flying through water. I didn't even know it was in one of the civilizations of Atlantis, even though that might be a decent description. But I was flying very quickly through water. I had certain technology within me where I could fly, and I know that technology exists today with certain space fleet craft that go underwater. And I know that technology has existed for a while. But beyond that, I don't really focus on past lives right now. It might happen later on in this incarnation for me. I think it's partly because I'm so addressing wanting to make heaven on earth in this time right now. Also, I don't feel the information for me is coming in through past life experience, where some of my best friends, I can think of 3 women who have vast amounts of information coming into them through their past life regressions and experiences. For me, my information, my wisdom's coming in through a different vehicle. So it's not necessary at this time for me to know too much about my past lives.
I relate to that. Like I think I'm not able at this point to tap into certain components because my role is more of like the bridge between knowing some of this stuff and so some of the viewers that might be watching that might be a little bit skeptical. I think whereas Scott has had certain experiences, I haven't really went down that road yet, and and that's something I may consider doing as things become more clear, as you know, Scott and I have been in survival mode for so long, and that's only shifted in the last year, which has been a beautiful thing for him and I to not feel like, how are we going to pay for the basics anymore? So that's been such a gift of working with, Matt Geiger and Ethan, etc. But I totally relate to you on that. So what has allowed you to now dig into getting more involved with your music, which we are going to, just so you guys know, we are going to share a snippet of one of George's pieces that he's been working on, but I'd love to hear how that process has happened for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I was a chorister at school. I've always been a musician. I was an organist. I had an amazing organ teacher at university and at school before that, a pianist and a singer. And obviously I work with sound. So music's always played a part of my life. But for a number of years, I've wanted to create my own Gregorian chants, and in particular sing some certain songs around cosmology. And this is the first one I've created today. It is quite a basic one, but it's a deliverable archetypal conversation around the 9 planetary bodies, including the 2 luminaries, the sun and the moon, and then Mercury through Pluto. And because I don't think, whether it's Hollywood or the nastiness of the music industry, which so many people are now beginning to realize with frequency, is these conversations are, the language of music is going to fundamentally change. It's already started to. It's going to be much more celebratory. It's going to be much more about the divine intention and the purpose towards consciousness. And yes, we'll still be singing about heartache. Yes, we'll still be singing about some of the awful stuff. But I think there's going to be much more of an openness towards our connection to the higher realms, to source, to consciousness, to God, to authenticity in the coming paradigm. And this is my small offering of it. I mean, I love music. It's the universal language. I mean, I'm in the land here of Goethe. Goethe, the great German philosopher, spoke about music being liquid architecture and architecture being frozen music. I mean, at the end of the day, music is the godly universal language. And I encourage, I implore everyone to rediscover their own divine, unique blueprint of music. We do not need to go to Harvard or Oxford to learn music. No, we don't. It's in us all innately. And so my offering is just to show, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm the consummate amateur musician. There you go.
So I add to that on past lives. It's interesting because Herman used to say, why would you want to know any of your past lives? You got enough shit to deal with in this lifetime, right? And he says it just repeats the same lesson. Maybe in the 1400s you'd get an arrow in your back, and in this lifetime people stab you in the back, or people talk behind your back. And so we don't necessarily have to plow up all that soil. Just move forward with what you've got from here and what's happened in this lifetime. And so there's it's funny because people have tried to take me into a past life, but they can't hypnotize me. So I just make shit up, right? Because when is this session going to be over? Because I can't be hypnotized. They've tried, and that's, I think, if you're awake now, it's very hard to be, that someone can be hypnotized. And if you watch a hypnotist, because we had a great one in at the Body Soul Spirit Expos, Wayne Lee, his name was, but he's all over Canada hypnotizing people at corporate things, and they're barking like dogs and whatever, which is not therapy, right? It's a clown show, but you know, he knows he can seem to pick them out in the crowd, and he gets the right people up there. And the odd one he'll send back because they can't be hypnotized. It's a real thing. So you see what's happening to mass consciousness. And so, but pulling up, you know, I had a young lady here. I won't say her name, but her last name is Atwood for three months. And actually, she's going to be reading faces this weekend. So I'm getting messages this morning. From Mark, how do you message her? Like, how do we market her? And what would we say? And what would she charge? And I says, well, she also draws she can sketch a face perfectly. I says, have her combine the two, like face reading, and because she's a natural at it. It's just, she's not confident. She says, I'm scared. I says, change from scare. Fear is actually another form of excitement. So use the word, I'm excited. And so anyways, how this was coming up, like with music too, she said in the training, because she was here doing my training for 14 days, and she said, I'd like to learn the flute. So I went and got my flute. It's a big, long Native American flute. 2 days she was playing Amazing Grace.
That is
so these are things that, like, I see, George, maybe you even were sitting on the original masters of astrology to pick it up that fast, right? And, you know, we all have our gifts, and we're starting to gather them. And that's what I have people to do, is write all your gifts down. And I said to this young lady, if you're not going to use them, can you please send them back so they can send them to me? Because I can't draw anything, or, you know, I'm not a musician. I guess because the interest isn't, I love music. I owned a blues bar for 14 years in Canada, Bistro and Blues Bar. And I had the best musicians from across Canada, but I'm not a musician. I just like music at that time.
right.
And so some music is really irritating, but I think everything move forward will be in the 432 hertz. And
on that subject, I mean, a lot of music was deliberately orchestrated to be that. I mean, you that's what you're saying. I agree with you. I mean, without going into it, Prince Rupert Lervenstein I met a bunch of times years ago, and he was the one who worked behind the scenes to change the frequency of the Beatles, and in particular the Rolling Stones. And he was a very unusual man, long dead now. But the point is, there was deep control over the frequency since the Second World War, and we're beginning to realize that. And now, as we realize that, we can embark on the 369 coordinates once again, which is what Tesla told us, to know the secrets of the universe. It's all divisible by 3, 6, and 9, and every single music, whether it's 432, whether it's 528, it's 369. You see, there we go, we have liftoff. So music is going to become for all of us, and I will celebrate what Carole says. We don't have to be a musician. Do you mean something? I'm the bridge here, because I don't consider, I'm not a professional musician. Isn't that wonderful? I'm not a professional musician. You're
not indoctrinated into theirs, and you're free flowing then. And it truly is a gift to have. But you know, we all have different gifts, and just to honor those within ourselves. So
it is. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to share. So if you can look at where George appears on the screen, it has his website, georgehlouis.com. So I'm going to take you guys to that, and so you can dig into not only his website, but he also has his Patreon. So how you get there is you're going to go up here, and there's the right now how to do it. You're going to hit contact, and at the very bottom here, it'll say subscribe to George's Patreon. So you'll click that, and this is what you'll see. And so George can go into a little bit more detail. But first, I think I'll play the snippet of the music, and then George can talk a little bit more about the Patreon. So what I'm going to do is play this right now. So here is 1 minute and 11 seconds of George's latest release. Here we go.
Excited.
with a radiant flame, calling our spirits to rise and proclaim. The moon softly whispers through silver blue skies, guarding our dreams where the mystery lies. Mercury dances with stories untold, trading bright visions like treasures of gold. Venus brings beauty wherever she goes, painting the world like a
I'm ready for the other 4 minutes of it myself. It's lovely, George. It really is.
Absolutely. Wow.
Yeah,
Why
it's
did
really
you cut it off?
Well, it's funny, you know. I mean, I got a few friends helping me with Patreon, and I'm really creating a community. And I'm going to share all my music for the people who join me on my Patreon as my community, because then I can just produce it, and by supporting me, it gives me because I just really believe in this, and I want to teach people how to do it themselves. We really, really can start using some technology to help, because I train my voice. I'm a singer, and then I'm able to synthesize it with technology. And this is the positive of AI. We're in the driving seat. This is me. I mean, obviously I've had a life of creativity, but so have you, so has Tommy, so has Harry. You know, different, as you have beautifully said throughout the show tonight, Carole. We all have our absolute divine blueprint. And in a way, this is an opening and offering to say, come on, guys, we're entering the age of Aquarius. Let's get creative, because it's profoundly healing when we do. Well, human beings are designed to be creative. So, you know, that's all I can say. And it gives me so much joy. I'm in Switzerland with this friend who's got this music studio, and I've been, you know, writing these lyrics for a while, but they've really come in thick and thin the last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're teaching as well. It's like it's a release for you, but you're also teaching. It's a really beautiful picture that you're painting here.
Thank you. And you know, that painting I created, obviously I did some sketches,
Wow.
but I put it through AI, and it's taken my archetypes in a way which is beautiful. And I'm okay with that, because I think it carries still an honest, authentic frequency. And with the music too, there's this, and the more you all polish your auras around it, and I teach you how to polish yours, there is the bidirectionality of creativity. Welcome to the age of Aquarius, which is the divine human Aquarius, not the transhuman one, which is the oppositional inversion.
Wow. It's nice to hear someone, because there's a lot of directions people can go with AI and technology. And I don't know, just the immediate frequency I got from what you're putting out there, it feels healing. It didn't feel like, oh, I don't want to, because a lot of AI music, it's like, oh, I don't know about that, or it feels artificial, or there's something off about it. Whereas, I don't know, this felt like inviting and healing and connected.
It gives me huge pleasure. Sorry, I just want to say one thing, Carole. It gives me such pleasure to hear that from you, because I know that's what I'm here to do. Because you talk about past lives. If I'm really honest, I have many past lives from Atlantis. I just don't want to talk about it, because I'm here to do that. And Atlantis got fucked over. I don't normally swear. Carole, you know this very well.
Yeah.
Right? And here we are to restore a really good Atlantean with a whole dose of feminine Lemurin thrown in there. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say it drew me right in to where I wanted more. Right. And, you know, to me, a lot of people used to ask me, you know, is face reading, that could be, you know, a weapon. I says, yeah, but it could also be a tool. So you can kill someone, or you can, you know, find all the beautiful parts of them and maybe their challenges. And it's how we express ourselves through that. So AI to me it was wonderful. I'm in a course right now of 28 days, at least learning the language and what's out there, and then pick which AI maybe I want to use, because I don't like writing emails, and I don't like doing some of this stuff. And you can automate so much stuff that gives me time to have creative energies in other directions than mundane tools and so mundane chores, I was going to say, as we market, right? Yeah. And so I see, you know, it's just another tool. It's the person that's using it. And that's why Trump wants to be quantum dominant, because we need the dominancy, because we're going to do it for the good. And yeah, it's I pick a road, and I'm going to pick the golden road. So it's we're going into this golden age, and to bring all our creativity, even if we upload it into the cloud for future humanity, is otherwise we're buried with our gifts, and we're not sharing them in that way that someone can learn from it. And we're all adding our consciousness. I mean, Herman's always said this, like every thought you have, you're putting it out into the ethers, and anyone else can pick up whatever you heal within yourselves. People can tune into that, and someone's, and how they've dealt with and healed through things. So we always send it with love, put it out there. Whoever dials into that radio station, just like, have you ever had a thought and said, oh, this would be a great idea for a business or whatever, and 6 months later someone else does it, and because you didn't take action. So we need that active intelligence, where we use the blue ray of will and combined it with active intelligence, and then we put it in the middle. So I often use the 3 colors. I'm doing a course in probably August called the Rainbow Bridge, and it's my psychosomatic numerology. And we see it as bringing those energies together, the blue ray, the gold ray, and the red ray. All colors come off of those 3 rays. And so even bringing relationship numbers together, here I go back to Trump because it's very well known, right? And so Melania's numbers is 11, his is 4. And so we bring those 2 together, and it's 6, which is in the heart chakra, and it's the ray of love, wisdom. They bring that together, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So we look at things in so many different ways, and to use these tools to move forward. And if we put it up in the cloud, otherwise, if Herman's buried with his information that he passed on to a lot of different students, which I was his protege. I traveled with him for 14 years and set up Canada and the United States. And I was in Australia 3 times. They flew me there after he passed so I could bring the other teachers up to my level, because they couldn't even teach the masters. So, we want to leave, your legacy behind would be your music, or what you created to humanity and how you touched individuals. Otherwise, what are we doing? Just working and enjoying life for ourselves, as we think enjoying life is. But we all know in the last 6-8 years that how much we've grown, and we're finding our tribes and bringing that energies together as a group instead of scattered everywhere. We're bringing this together, and that's the beauty of the internet or AI. We've all been using AI for anytime you Google something, it's all AI.
Been around a lot longer than we think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, probably since Atlantis days, because they were just using crystals in those days, and the Lemurians. So it's just recycling, and we're waking up to that.
Right. Yeah. This has been you guys blend so well together. It's such a gift to have a show where we actually, now I haven't met George yet in person. And we will definitely let George know. We're doing an event. The Awakening Summit is happening October 16th through 18th in Sedona, and they've had 2 in New York, and this time both Donna and Elisa were very open to having it in Sedona. So we do need to let George know about it. It's becoming more like formal and official. I think there's a couple of details that they're still working on, but the greatest gift of this show has been meeting a tribe of amazing people, and then meeting them in person, and becoming part of projects. Like Lisa Schermerhorn just released a book, and I was fortunate enough to be one of the authors, and We Are Quantum, and it's crazy. I spent time with Lisa and Barry over in Vermont, and I've spent time with Carole in Costa Rica, and it's incredible what this community has. It's been the biggest gift, more than anything, is to actually meet light workers and be real friends with them and work on things together and have conversations like this. It's incredible.
I met George very briefly, though. In Trump Durrell at Charlie
That's
Wilson's
right. I think
event.
you said that.
Yeah. I was with Jason Q at his table and Dylan Monroe.
Yes.
So I mean, it was very brief. It was very busy, and it was so much fun.
It was such fun. It was a great conference, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And both those gentlemen are going to be in Sedona. So yeah.
Laura Eisenhower is coming.
Yep.
Too.
And Carole, and we're going to let George know more about it as well.
Yeah.
Well, I know we're trying to keep this somewhere between an hour and a half, etc. But is there anything we haven't covered that either one of you would like to discuss or ask each other? Please, there's a little bit of time left. So. Either way.
I really enjoyed being here today. This is just feel my cup is nicely full. And as I said, I think, if people want more, Carole and I can jump on and do another one with you. We'd love that. I think, in this new world, I think let's see what the appetite of our fellow travelers is like.
Yeah, we're all time travelers, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so lovely to get that, to hear different perspectives and different modalities that we can bring together and see how they coincide so beautifully together.
I agree with that very much. I mean, I'd love to learn more about yours. I love, when we first spoke, I'm really fascinated by what you told me about Trump. It's just like, oh my God, that makes so much sense from your languaging. So I look forward to learning more, certainly. It's very powerful and it's very effective.
Yeah, I was going to say, can I mention I'm going to be on a show July 9th on Patriots Across the Pond. So I'm on with Elisa and Laura Eisenhower and one other lady. I'm not sure who she is. So they wanted to do something on self-love and inner child work. So they're bringing me on. And also, if anyone's interested in Rainbow Bridge and understanding more about numerology, the way I do it, it's not gematria. It's Pythagorean or Pythagorean numerology, all, based in this, The Life You Were Born to Live by Dan Millman. I call it my Bible. When I read my numbers, 246, I just threw the book across the room, and he was just like, who wrote an effing book about me? And so, and then Herman combined it in his book, Guidance from the Masters, where we use how light splits into the world and into the chakra system, and being a double rainbow, what that means, which comes to 13, because the red comes together when you have a double rainbow. So these are things that, these are information, just how light splits in as we see prisms. And so, and if people are interested, they can go to my website and sign up for my free ebook, which is Your Body Never Lies. And there's 30 pages, how to keep your posture correct, your feet straight, what that means. And it's all about the body, for sure, because that's our greatest asset. Got to have a good ass to have good assets. And so, we use a lot of humor in our work. So the body, we release emotions many different ways, through laughter, through tears, through just ahas, and our own insecurities. And if someone can point those out, what we see. So I do a lot of face splits, put two right sides together, two left sides, see if they, and maybe, different show. I've got like lots of things on that. And maybe go back on Truth Stream. And we did a show called Why Costa Rica. And Joe and Scott were here. We filmed a lot of the sanctuary, and I talked about the energies. And then the last 15 minutes, it's Why Costa Rica, where I bring in all the eagle and the condor and the white dove of peace landing in the middle of the medicine wheel on this part of the Western Hemisphere, and also above here, because I'm on the highest mountain in Costa Rica, which is Mount Chirripó, which means I have got 10 acres on Rio Chirripó, which means eternal waters. So come and bath in eternal waters. And it also goes to the Pacific and to the Atlantic. So it bridges to salt waters with the fresh waters. And yeah, we've got it all here. When you climb Mount Chirapo, you can see the Atlantic Ocean or the Caribbean and the Pacific at once at the same time on a clear day. So, and we're not 110, George. We got mild weather year round. It's about
Lucky.
80,
Yeah.
80, 85 maybe.
I have 3 fans here. I mean, it's just, it's properly, and there's no air conditioning here where I am.
Yeah.
It was 110 yesterday. It was insane.
I can't stand it. Yeah. Well, here I don't need heat and I don't need air conditioning. So it's perfect weather, and there's very little bugs, the odd one. And while I've been here in almost 9 years, I've seen people, what about snakes? I said, there's more snakes in Alberta. I think I've seen, 2 snakes and 1 was dead. So, it's a beautiful place to be.
It is. I can vouch for it because I've been there personally. It's amazing.
Yeah. We've traveled a lot together. Ireland, Spain.
Yep.
A lot of Truth Tour with Lewis Herms, and we're still part of that whole journey. So yeah.
Yep.
And if they want to go to my website, thelightworkersinstitute.com, and also heavenandearthsanctuary.com. And on Rumble, I put up a show every Friday. And I'm on Grassroots Warrior Network also, and also on the Lightworkers Institute. Sign up and subscribe to my station. I got thrown off so many different things, so I'm starting over again. Not Rumble, I haven't been, but I don't have that many subscribers out there. But yeah, we put it up and I do a little bit of a teaching. What I do is every Tuesday I have something called Ask Me Anything Tuesday. People can sign up for that and come on and ask me anything. And I'll do 20 minutes of teaching, which I turn into a show for Friday. Yeah, I mean, it's easy. It's, and I've got other people. And we go through the manual a lot and ask questions. And we talk about diseases and what's the emotion behind psychosomatic diseases. So, yeah, lots of information. And we're here to share all our gifts. And so I says we'll never get tired over and over again. So, I think we'll all work at creating this beautiful new world until we, pass on to our next lifetime. I think we've had many lifetimes here, so we'll see. Or going into that direction of the dolphins and the whales as they add a new verse every year to their song, and that's what's carrying us.
Well said.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll be back tomorrow. Scott and I are joining Patriot Underground at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, the 27th. And then, then I'm bringing back on John and another dear friend of mine. And we are going to be doing Jennifer, and we're going to be doing a retreat at Mount Rainier on August 26th through 30th. So we're going to be doing a show about that upcoming retreat. We have a few spaces left. So it's just really cool to turn this show into actual, events. And then of course there's the one in Sedona that Scott and I are part of as well. And Carole and
my birthday party.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's only it's a couple days after the event, but we'll celebrate during the event. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Appreciate it. We will be back with Carole and George, I would think sometime in late July, early August, and do a follow-up show. And hopefully by then there'll be a lot of other things that have come to the surface as well for humanity. So
thanks, guys. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure.
Absolutely. All right. With that, everybody, I'm going to play George's part of the song one more time. And please go over to his Patreon, and all of that's available at georgehchlewis.com. So without further ado, here's the snippet of George's song one more time.
The sunlight's path with a radiant flame, calling our spirits to rise and proclaim. The moon softly whispers through silver blue skies, guarding our dreams where the mystery lies. Mercury dances with stories untold, trading bright visions like treasures of gold. Venus brings beauty wherever she goes, painting the world like a